good morning, and good morning. I am laughing because I was so busy being on time that I wasn't on time. I don't know, for some reason, the last time I looked at my watch, it said it was 10 minutes still. So I thought I had 10 minutes. I'm down here just doing whatever I want to do. I'm a little late. How many of us have been late? Sometimes we are late. We're late for a lot of things. But I'm hoping that your week has gone well. Today is Friday, so it's time to have a good time. No matter what that may be, maybe you have a family gathering since it's summertime. Good morning, Debbie. You made it. Yes, you did. Thank you so much. I was just telling him I'm coming on late. For 5 minutes late for me is a big deal, but I'm usually like 2 minutes. 2 minutes is probably considered to be, right nearby. But when it gets to be 5 and 10 minutes, you can tell the professor, "Hey, I see you later." Normally in a professional setting, if you were in like a college setting or something, it's 15 minutes. But you know, you're paying for that. This is volunteer, so I don't want to push it. Pink slip. I deserve a pink slip, Daddy. I absolutely deserve a pink slip. But anyway, today is one of those days, like they keep, I did something on Rich last week. And so this week I said, you know what, Friday is going to be Fortunity. And, we never realize what we go through when we're constantly inundated with, things that keep telling us to spend our money, to separate ourselves from our money, or to take a chance. And so I thought this week that maybe this Friday, we would get it out. I'm hoping somebody wins it soon. Okay. I hope somebody wins it soon because there's a frenzy. Sometimes you go to the gas station, you want to pay for gas. You need to pay with your card because going inside is like everyone is lined up to pay for tickets. So it's really been an interesting thing. So anyway, I found this thing online. Um, it says the fortune hunter. How many of us are fortune hunters? At times we are. We're going to be searching for whatever it is that we want out there. It may be, clothes. It may be a car. It may be a new house. We're searching. And sometimes we're hoping that money will come with whatever we're going to do. Flipping a house. I have a friend that will flip houses. I'm afraid to flip a house, thinking that I'll be stuck with multiple houses. But there's some people that have a knack for it. They know how to do it. I've never done it. Never done it. So anyway, this particular poem is by Felix Stefanow. Stefanow. But anyway, it says the fortune hunter. It says there are four dangers, the gypsy said: a man with a beard, a lady with a lavalier, and a dog with a pox. And what of the fourth I asked for? But there she was, a plaster statue in her coffin box. It was, and what it is and was, might have been. I put another nickel in. There are three loaves of gypsies. There are three loves, the gypsy said: a girl with a long look, and a girl with a laugh. And what is the third? I asked. But there she was, smiling her fake smile, a photograph. It was and might have been. I put another nickel in. There are two paths, the gypsy said, and one leads down the coast. And what of the other? I asked her, but there she was, my mummy queen, with all the acres, aces lost. It was and it is, might have been. I put another nickel in. Stranger, call my Keith and kin. So to me, this is a play on understanding the significance of fortune. We search, we search, we search. We end up, it says a coffin, we end up only as a phonograph. We end up only as the aces that we have lost along the way. Interesting concept. Good morning, Angelique. How are you doing, my friend Angie? Good to see you, see you, see you. I just thought this was a cool poem only because we search. we want things. We put in money, and I was talked into just by a quick email that I was going to do this. I guess it's just a bunch of people, a group of people that are getting together to see will they win anything, in the mega bucks. Hey, listen, I could use some money. I could use something to be charitable with to a point. But it's interesting to me that it is one of those things that we are all, even if we don't say we are, we want something that could be a fortune to us. And so I came up with the word fortunity is today's word. And I think about the fortunity, it says it's a chance and it's occurrence. But some people believe it's their good luck. I've never really, once I got older, I understood that I didn't call it luck. Like whenever I was blessed with something, I called it a blessing. I got a blessing. But that's the fixture that I'm in. I believe in that. But other people may feel it isn't that. It says, but anyway, fortunity is anything that happens suddenly or by chance without an apparent cause. So even with, us, putting in our money, the cause is that we're hoping that we get it, or maybe some people might be prayerful that they get it. But I was watching a young man this morning online on TV, and he was talking about, how he kept putting in these numbers and putting in these numbers, and he became obviously a multimillionaire. I think he won like $45 million. So, it was talking about his previous profession, and he said he didn't quit right away what he was doing. He found a way to get people to support him in terms of it being a team approach of making sure that he doesn't end up penniless, because a lot of people do once they get a fortune. So anyway, so Fortunity says that, it wasn't an accident, it was an event, it was a stroke, it was an occurrence, and it was a chance. And when we look at our lives every day we get up, it's a chance that we get to see the end of the day. It's a stroke of goodness that we are able to still be here the next day, even though we may not look at life that way. But I'm always getting up saying thank you. Like sometimes I'm just driving down the road and I'm saying thank you, God, for letting me still see, how beautiful the clouds are, or the fact that I'm out here among everybody else and I'm getting it going. Good morning, Joan. Welcome, welcome. Today our word is fortunity, and which just talks about a chance or an occurrence. But it says it isn't luck, but some people believe that they have good luck. I believe that I've been blessed whenever something happens. So that's the way I look at it. But when we break the word down, and before I do that, I'm going to ask you, have you ever been stuck on believing that what you're after is yours? It may be other people. It may be, a house. It may be a car. It may be, the mega millions. You just feel it's yours. I don't know. I've never really had that feeling. I would like to know that feeling is there. Like some people say that they met their mate and they knew immediately that they were theirs, that they were going to be a couple. They were going to be married. I never had that happen to me. Never. Okay. Absolutely never. And I'm too old now to think it's going to happen now, but it hasn't happened in the past. So I'm not giving it much luck going forward. I'm not, and I said luck. I didn't say blessings. Now, of course, if it happened, it certainly would be a blessing, but I'm just saying. So when we break the word down, it talks about my F is fortune. Okay. I believe everyone would like to have good fortune, but I don't believe it's just in money. I think we have good fortune if we have life. That's just me. I'm always looking at the up and the side, not just the up and the down. Sometimes we just have to say, what, I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough to live on. I don't have the best car, but I have a car that's working. I don't have the best location of town to live in, but I got a place to live in while I'm in town. Those kinds of things you look at. So fortune, it says anything that happens suddenly or by chance without an apparent cause. No, okay, without a cause. A large amount of money or assets could also be yours. Okay. And it says, but those things are chance. It doesn't say that they're absolutes, that we're going to be the ones that receive. It says it could be that we received them by accident, but it was a good accident. It could be that there's a little serendipity-ness going on with it, a twist of fate. How many of it had bad things going on, and then the twist of fate turns it around to be a good thing, okay? Sometimes we have to go down some dark halls before we can get to where we see a lot of light, okay? It also talks about it being fortunate, having fortune, and then in this instance, they use luck. They say the fortune was the luck, you know, understood. You know, for some people, that's only they say, I had good luck. And we sometimes do tell people good luck. I mean, I'm not going to say that I've never told it to anybody, but when I think about it, you know, for me, I'd want to say, be blessed. If you say that to me, I understand what it means. And it may be your way of saying luck. It may be. When I move further on in the word, did anybody, let's see, what did she say? Forget about it. Okay, Joan, did you have anything? I was wondering. When I move further on in the word fortunity, I use opulent. And opulent is ostentatiously rich and luxurious or lavish. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. All I can say is before I leave the world, I would love to live a little life of being ostentatious, being opulent, having the best, seeing, you know, experiencing those things. I don't know about that kind of stuff. So every once in a while, when I do see something that like, wow, I'm going to say wow, because I wasn't used to it, hadn't seen it before. There it is. Futurity. Okay, I like that. That's a good word. You know, when we look at when we look at how life is, we want the opportunity to say that futuristically, we would like to know that something will come abundantly to us. It may or may not, but we're always in a position to say that that's what we'd like to see. For opulent, it says that when we want to live lavish, we may look at something that is rich, lush, lavish. You know, wouldn't we like to live like that? I would. I would like to experience, you know, having somebody. In fact, I used to work a lot in Princeton with College Board in the education testing center, and I would be there, and occasionally we would pass homes, and I have never seen this ever again. But there was a home that I remember us passing, where the I guess it would be like the driver had on the black driving suit with the hat, the chapeau on. When the door was open, waiting for somebody to come out into this, you know, Rolls Royce, and I was just like, "Hey, stop! Let me." Of course, they had to drive on because we were in traffic, but I was absolutely blown away. To me, that's lavish living. I don't know it, you know, but certainly I could get used to it, even if it was just for a day. Just give me one day, just so I could see what it would like. Would anybody else like to do it one day? I would just like to do it just one day, then I'm done with it. But when we move further on, did anybody have any O's? What they would use for their O? I used opulent. My next word I used in fortunity is being rich. You know, I'm not going to lie. I would love to be rich. I would love to be able to give money away, you know, but also, even though there's not a no there, you also, in your giving away, must be able to realize the importance of saying no. A lot of times, rich people become almost victimized because people think, you know, that they automatically will give them something, or you find relatives that you never knew you had before, or, you know, especially with lotteries. And I know the state of Florida, if you win money that's a huge amount, that was, you know, basically public dollars that people gave in, your name has to be given, and you have to be I guess known as on the registry as having this money, and I'm thinking, but why wouldn't they protect your identity? But they don't. You have to agree that you will, in order to accept the money, that you also know your name has to be given out. Now, and there's other states they don't do that. They don't. It's not that requirement. But I know the state of Florida, it is real. I know you got to be real, Debbie, when you get money, and you're rich. It says Rich says that that you have a lot of money or assets. You are considered to be wealthy, cash rich, affluent, well off, and well to do. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't want to try it. If it got too abnormal for me, I wouldn't. I wouldn't know how to adjust to that because I've never had that level to need to ever adjust to. I remember, growing up, we probably were poor, but my mother never made us feel that we were. But when I went to others' houses that had much less than we had, even though we were a large family with 10 children, I'm still thinking that, other people are living just as well as we. And I'd go to other people's houses, and there were less people, and they had less in terms of furniture, food, all those kinds of things. So you just never know. And for me, rich is also inside. I feel rich, the fact that I can see and do and be, who I am until I leave up out of here. That's really a good thing. Being real and rational is really, those are good things. Those are really, really good things that we know we need to look at ourselves as being, to me, viable, believable, here for not just the purpose of ourselves, but when we can, that we can be real with others and rational with others in terms of even, offering a small token to someone or doing something special that they didn't expect. To me, that's a good thing. That makes us, to me, rich. It does. I feel good inside when I'm able to do something for others. Now, the T for fortunity, my first T, is tempted. How many of us have not been tempted by something? We may have enough and we still, because we like a certain thing, may want more of it. As I was saying, when I was younger, we lived in Italy, so I had to have, Capitamani, which is the porcelain, the Italian porcelain. And I look at that stuff now and I'm thinking, and what was I thinking? That's the mindset you had then, tangible. That's really a good word. Something that's tangible. You can see it, you can feel it, you can hold on to it. It's tangible, and those things were important at the time, but not as much now. The older I get, it becomes more important that people are important than possessions. For me, tempted says entice or attempt to entice someone to do or acquire something that they find attractive but know to be wrong or not beneficial. That's where I am now. But I was thrilled. It was thrilling when I bought it, Debbie. And it was a tangible when I bought those things back along the way. But when we learn as we grow older that, things are nice to have, but there's not much else you can do with them but look at them. My only real thing now, and I tell everybody, is clothing. That's the only thing I really am into now. I don't do all the other stuff that I used to do. I don't buy the things for my house. Like I just don't do it. It's outdated for me. But when we're tempted with something, we are enticed, we're persuaded, sometimes convinced that we know what we know. We might be induced or coaxed. We may have a reason for believing that what we want is what we need. Oh, that's real good. How many of us think we need all the stuff we have or thought at past tense? Because now we're thinking about it in a different limelight than what we did when we originally purchased it or we originally received it. How many of us have ever gotten things that once we got them, we didn't have the same feeling about them? We longed for them, but once we received them, it's like, oh well. I see that with children all the time. When I would buy things for my daughter when she was little, I would just be so excited about what I was buying her because she said she wanted it. And then at Christmas time, oh, I confess, I know that's right. At Christmas time, I would watch her. She'd play with that thing she just had to have for about 5 minutes. Then she'd go to the less expensive, less interesting, less whatever that brought her more joy. So sometimes we don't even realize that we have joy in the simpleness of where we are than in the magnitude. We want to sit around and think we need to have absolutely everything. And then once we get it, we're less excited about it. And then it becomes a thing that we've achieved. And I said, there's sometimes more, and I used to write this all the time in my poetry. Sometimes there's more excitement in the hunt than in the actual catch. The hunt becomes exciting. The catch, no. It's like, yeah, I caught it. And a lot of times that's what we do with love. We run. We love this person. Yes, yes, yes. And then we get them and we find out there's some things that they do that we cannot tolerate. Can't. Don't clean up after themselves, have no money, have no car, whatever it is. We realize later on that there was a reason that we should have addressed it, but we didn't. We never did. Next thing where I have in my word of FORTUNITY is my U is for uptown. How many of us have known uptown, crosstown or uptown? In New York, there's always, the thing about living uptown. And uptown was like, living, Park Avenue, Fifth Avenue, all the areas that really spoke to. I mean, you can see them on your Monopoly board. I mean, they were on Monopoly boards. If anybody ever had a Monopoly board, they know what I'm talking about. Where, it always had the expensive area, uptown areas were like the boardwalk and Fifth Avenue, all those things that pretty much told us that we needed to stay in a certain area to be considered a certain class, to be considered a certain level of affluence, But then they had St. Charles Place. I remembered it. Oh my goodness. I remembered St. Charles Place was in the low district. Okay. So you understood, that, I mean, even as a child, we were being, kind of taught some things that we really didn't know back then until we put that little shoe or the hat or whatever it is that we were playing around that board and say, oh, I want to get over there to, to Park Place, I want to be at Park Place. But utilize, understanding, utilize, and urgent. Yes, sometimes we do need to realize that, we've addressed our lives in such a way that we've given more urgency to things than they should be. We've utilized things that we really shouldn't, and we've come up with a false understanding of where we should be. That is life, And sometimes people chasing that uptown. They're looking for the chic, the elegant, the fashionable, the posh, the high class, the dashing, and the fly. That's what they look for. That's our lives. We look for something that excites us. Those things excite us. I think, one time I went to a party that was far above my means, but the underdog, yes. Sometimes we need to be the underdog because we see more. I went to this party and it was a high class party in New York, and I just remember it being so everything was just elegant and posh and this and that and this and that. But I found that the people had resolved themselves to being, there was a snootiness and there was an arrogance and there was a way that really didn't include me. because it's almost like, I guess I spoke from my middle or my lesser than what they felt that they were looking at or looking for and looking to in terms of each other. So I just thought that was just interesting to me. Very, very interesting. But uppity, yes. Uppity is good. And so we look at our lives in that respect. And sometimes we do aspire to be more uptown, but not to the point where we've excluded so many, you know. And I know it happens all the time, because when you look at life, and it's always on a hierarchical level of of more and more and more importance, or more and more money, or more and more, status, that when we see ourselves, down in the middle or down towards the bottom, we think less of ourselves, some of us. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Erica. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Today, our word is fortuity. And fortuity really speaks to the chance or the occurrence that something happens suddenly. And of course, I was relating it to how we're being just inundated with taking our money out of our pockets and going into pools, or making every attempt to win a lottery, because they've made it. They talked about the strategy of how they even the reason they changed that, and that is life. We listen to ourselves long enough, we believe what the hype is, and we get right into it, unconcerned. Yeah, unconcerned. Right. Sometimes we are unconcerned about what it is that we're doing, or people are unconcerned about us because we're not doing what they're doing. Very, very good. We move further on in the word, for my N, in fortuity, I come up with net. And net is the amount of, and that's what's left over after we deduct expenses, taxes, and other liabilities. And when you think about all that money out there that people have gone through, either they've inherited, I find that inheritance sometimes, or windfall of some sort that somebody didn't know that they were getting, might be that they won the Canada lottery or something, but something happened and they ended up with a lot of money. Neverland, necessity. Those are all good. We have a tendency to not realize that there's going to be a net. Now, obviously, the net would be if you decided to take the lump sum and you won a large amount of money, then the lump sum would be the net. Okay. However, on top of that, you still have to worry about who else is taxing you. The state tax, the federal tax, all those things. So the net talks about the deductions that would come off. So that's one of the reasons that they say if you win a large amount of money, you really need to get a team of financial people together, and lawyers that really aren't going to be there to rip you off, but be able to help you know how to save what it is that you earned. I have a friend that told me the only way that she would spend money is that she would only spend I guess it's almost like the residual that would come off it, or the interest made. That's how she'd work on spending that money, but never the principal, or I would say the gross amount of money that was won. She would still keep it intact. Non-comprehensible. Okay, that's really good, Debbie. That is good. So when we really think about this word, it really does generate a lot of different ideas of looking at our money, our reason for things happening, and our understanding of how we need to go forward once we had this incident of an occurrence that we were not expecting. Or even if we anticipated, we didn't anticipate all the things that came with it. There you go, right there. My I in fortuity is income. Your income changes if you ever win something. Your income is anything that comes in that's either you've worked for, or it may be that you decided to take, stipends, or an annual give out of money. over a longer period of time, say it's 20 years. And especially for some people who realize they can't control their impulsive behavior, they may want to do it like that. So anyway, the income is what money you received. And sometimes this is what money, obviously, that you received on a regular basis. And it's generally for your work. However, in the instance of winning large amounts like a lottery or something, then you'd have to tell them how it takes it, and it would become your income then. And that's why some people realize they have to probably quit their regular jobs, because it's just adding more income on top of the income they're earning. So increment is really good, and the impact, the individualized, that's really good too, because a lot of times people don't realize that it may be individualized, that there's a certain amount of money you won, but it also affects everybody else in your line, your lineage along the way. I've seen families break up over different things that came in through insurances and inheritances of some sort, and property and all of that, just because they really weren't paying attention to what that did to them. That increase, it messed them around. Indulge, increment, yes, but all those are all good, so we really have to be careful about the way in which we look at income, because it could define how well we're doing, or how well the IRS or the state or the federal tax laws affect us going forward. We really have to be aware of that. So we can move on with that word of fortunity and look at our taxes. I wasn't far. The tax is a compulsory contribution to the state or federal government that's levied on workers, but it's also levied on anyone that gets a windfall. The only things that are covered are like insurance policy. If you get money from an insurance policy, those are covered, because that's supposed to be money that you receive in the event that individual is no longer here. So that's different. Tangible, that's really a good word that we need to look at what is tangible, what we actually can hold on to. But it says that the income and the business profits are added to the cost of some goods, services, and transactions. So we already know that if we win something, the government's going to get a good bit. I mean, even with it, that the current pot being at, I think it said $980 million, whatever, it's over 900 million, that the buyout or the takeaway is only 400 and some odd million. Excuse me, isn't that half? 50%. It's near 50% the takeaway, that they're basically going to split whatever before you can even split it, if you're in a group of some sort. Threats. It would be like a threat if they coming after you. That's right, Debbie. They coming to get you. They are coming to get you. So the taxes, the levy, the tariff, the duty, the toll, contribution, even if it's forced, it's a fee, it's an assessment, the tribute that I tribute this to you, when it's basically a charge. I always have to worry about, if I take money from my savings, how much does that add to the income that the government says we coming after you? Because we know, even though we know you're older, but we also know that you get this and this. So adding more money to that means you've gone to a higher income bracket. Therefore, we want some money. So it is what it is. And lastly, I have for my why of fortunity is yield. Now, to me, yield says what's remaining, what is remaining after everybody has pilfered, assessed, taken, taxed, whatever you want to do. It's all a racket. It is all a racket. It says how much income or investment separates from the principal. So no matter how much money you have, the yield is what's left over. The reason I wanted yield in there, and it really, we could use you, meaning the personal I that we are, the eyes that we are, it is because it's personalized when we talk about how much is left over. Because we start with a certain amount, no matter who we are. Every year we start with in a position to make a certain amount of money if we're working for an employer, and the money will come to us, as unless we get a raise, it will be increased, or unless you're having something garnished, then it would be a little decrease. But most of the fact, we stay in our own lane for that year, and then we'll it will generate to us an income, and the yield is whatever that income is. And it says the yield shows how much income has been returned from the investment based on the initial cost. But when you're working, the yield is whatever you receive from your employer. But it's how you make money, how you become profitable, how you look at yourself differently. It says, I second the word yield. Okay. Thank you, Joan. It says basically it is the bring in, the payout, the remunerative, the make a return. No matter what, no matter if it's fun money that you put out there, and you hit the jackpot at a casino, or you hit the big lottery, you hit the fantasy five, the mega, the Powerball, whatever, or received money as an inheritance. Somebody's out there waiting for you. Okay, they're waiting for you, and you never know, you never realize the importance of being aligned properly in terms of how you keep more money than you have to give away, how you look at it in such a way that it makes sense, that money is like a place to live in. You have to secure it. You have to secure it. When you get in your car, what do? You have to secure, making sure that that when you stop at a light, that nobody's going to jump in. I'm going to tell you, this really happened to a girlfriend of mine in New York. She's driving down the street, stopped at a light, and that's before those cars. The cars now have an automatic. If the the ignition is turned on, either electronically or with the key, it now has it where if it's once it starts going within so many feet of it actually running, and traveling up the road, the doors lock automatically. Well, this was obviously predating that, and she stopped at a light, and it was dark. She was coming from our office over in another area of the city, and somebody jumped in the car with her. She said she looked at him, he looked at her, and she said her heart was like, she said she knew he could hear her heart beating. He never said a word. She drove to the next city and stopped in front of the police station. He just got out. He got out and walked away. She says she didn't have any reason to go turn him in because he didn't harm her. She said, but what it is that it scared her absolutely witless, where she was like, oh my goodness. She said her nerves were shot. And so from then on, when she got in the car, she always locked it. That's what we need to do with our money. We need to lock down on it so that it's not an easy thing. So Fortunity, it's a chance that we get it. But what are the chances that we lose it? What are the chances that we don't know how to hold on to it? They're great. And there's always somebody out there luring, waiting for you to make a mistake. I mean, I'm even crazy when I go out to do a transaction and I have to use my debit card. I'll use it, but then I'm making sure that, I'm covering up everything. And I tell you, people are crazy and they do want what you have. So take action towards safeguarding it. Listen, it's the weekend. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for coming in with me. If you don't do anything else, hit like and share, like and share, or share and like later. But share it. Let people know that I am trying to do my best of serving my folks. Yesterday I had a wonderful Rotary meeting. So I'm still asking people to come on and join with me. And let's make this trek trick of fun time of treating each other well. I love you guys. I'll see you on Monday. Be safe, enjoy yourself. If you don't do anything else, think about fortunity and if it's a chance, if it's luck, and if it's for you. Okay? Behave, do your thing. Enjoy your weekend too. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, everybody that came in. Bye bye.